So today we're going to be putting in the top cross members, the wood there to hold on the ceiling material. And I'm also going to cut it just slightly larger to house a lot of the wiring and everything like that that's going up and above and over, and to the lights in the middle. So I'm going to cut it a little bit wider. It is 1/2 inch maple that I had been using on the floor. So, it's pretty nice stuff. Again, probably better for cabinetry, but it's a nice solid wood. So I'll get started on that, cut those pieces, and I'll show you a few different things that I'm going to try to do along the way to make sure I get the proper coverage. I'm starting the rearmost one at a 5-inch width piece because that'll give me a little more than an inch on each side for the 1/2 inch conduit to kind of lay in. Okay, so I got this first one in. I just wanted to see how it would go. I just recessed these in, made them flush, so I'd use just a little bit bigger bit. And then for the hardware, using these 1-inch number 12 hex head self-tapping. And I made sure to double check whether this, when it was flushed up, would go through the ceiling. That's the last thing you want to do. The other thing is these ridge lines. I did not want to put a screw on these ridge lines because that's going to be the closest it's going to be to poking through your ceiling. So I always made sure when using or when going through, I would hit the hollowest part with the most clearance to the roof. So I gotta take my wire ties down first. Then I just want to mark the middle on both ends of the board just to make sure I can center it. So this is 5-inch wide, and it seemed to work well with this one here to allow enough space for wiring to tuck up underneath there. This one's going to have wiring on both sides being tucked up. And you just want to dry fit it up there, kind of get a feel for where you're at. And I also just mark the center of the beam on both ends, so you can line that up with the board. Make sure you get that as centered as possible. You're just going to want to check your ends. Give yourself about even space on both sides. Then you want to find where you're going to fasten your first hole. And that's judged by looking above to see where your best angle is going to be and where your most clearance is going to be. So line where I want to drill on the cross. Now, just want to pre-drill. Jesus, shit's everywhere. Get that inlaid enough to where the screw head will drop down in and lie flush. And I'm just going to get this started in here. So this is just going to be your set screw. So it's pertinent you get it lined up on your straight edge. This will be your starting point. So now that I got that end lined up, I'm going to find where I want to counter set this again. Get your self-tapper in. Comes in. There's a little gap. It's not terrible. Little gap ain't gonna kill you. You want to get it as flush as you possibly can to it, and as tight as you can. Alright, so I got the first three on, and the nice thing about these is they have the little lip, so I've been able to kind of place where all the wiring is going to go, and where it's going to transfer over to the other side, for the little kitchenette area. And there's still going to be some stuff to figure out as far as how I'm going to hold everything in place and some of these passes. I mean, with the ceiling on it, there'll be a little bit of a space there because there will be another half-inch layer going across, obviously, all these braces, which is why they're there. So, at least I kind of got it laid out and held up for the time being. So for these back pieces, I did have some scraps from this, about this width. I figured on this side that if you can pinch it in just right, you can actually wedge that back in there. So this is actually going to be my rear attach point for all the ceiling that comes down through. I was kind of wondering how I was going to do that, so I'm glad that this worked out the way it did. So you just kind of have to manipulate it in there. I start over on this end, getting that slotted in. Throw the mallet, and then this is where it gets tricky because you really got to put pressure on it to get it started. I knew this one was going to be harder than the other side. I knew it. Seems like this threshold's a lot closer. There we go. Get that kind of pressed in as far as it'll go. It's looking pretty straight. Really, primarily, I want to get it lined up with these holes so that I can drill into that. And that's more than enough there, so I think that's going to be good. So now it conveniently has these holes, so I'll just throw some screws in there, and it's all pretty form fit to the top and slot in. I mean, this thing isn't going to go anywhere, I don't think, but just to make sure, I'll throw a couple screws in there. What's up, guys? I wanted to break this up into two separate videos because I feel that this first part is a good preliminary step with getting all your pieces cut, set up, kind of put into place so that you have a really good starting point for when you want to put in your insulation and for placing your wiring that's going to be going up along your beams that will go underneath the panels. So in the next video, we'll show you how to do the installation, what I used, what type of adhesive I used, and kind of how everything falls into place with the beams that we did on this video, in addition to placing some more finicky beams up front towards the cab, because I did need to work that way a little bit slower so I could actually get to the point where everything fell into place a little bit easier, and I was also figuring it out as I went along. So this will kind of show you what you'll need to do there, how we can get everything tightened up, get everything put into place, and this way we'll have a really solid foundation for putting the actual ceiling panels on. It'll keep everything flush, nice looking. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. If you're interested in these types of videos, or if you're enjoying kind of what I'm doing as I'm learning as I'm going along too, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.